What's up, guys? Today we are doing foundation tips, so kind of how to get that flawless finish on your foundation. I have a bunch of tips for you guys, so let's jump right in. Pull my hair back. First and foremost, what's this gonna look like? We don't know. The first thing you're gonna wanna do when you're trying to get that flawless foundation look is you just wanna analyze your skin. So you wanna look at your skin, understand what your skin type is. Are you dry? Are you oily? Are you combination? Are you something in between? All of those things. Figure that out first, because you want to get a foundation that is gonna work with your skin and not against your skin. Most of the time I'm pretty dry, so I look for foundations that are luminous, hydrating, that sort of thing. When you are looking for a foundation, don't be afraid to mix tones, to mix types. Like, you may find a matte foundation that's just a little bit too matte for you, and you mix it with a little bit of a hydrating foundation and it's gonna be the perfect consistency for you. Same thing with shade. You might find a shade that's a little too yellow or a little too pink or a little too neutral of an undertone. Don't be afraid to mix and match and find your shade. It's very hard to find your shade. I actually think I might do a whole video on how to find your foundation shade. Let me know if you guys want that, comment below. I never just go straight in with one foundation. I'm always mixing. So the next thing you're gonna do is decide if you want a liquid foundation or a powder foundation. A powder foundation is gonna give you a little bit less coverage. It's gonna be a faster, easier application, but it's not gonna be as skin-like, as seamless as a liquid foundation will be. I prefer liquid foundation, so that's what I'm gonna be using today in this video. Okay, so you wanna go a little bit darker than your actual face, because I don't know if you can tell, but like my arms are, and my chest, you can't really see my chest, but my arms are a little bit darker than my actual face, so I don't want my face to look lighter than the rest of my body. For today, I'm gonna mix a couple things together, and this is honestly what I always do. Right now, I have my skin primed, I put my eyebrows on, and I spot concealed a little bit, but that's it. I have nothing else on. I have a bunch of foundations. These are kind of like the ones I'm always using. So you guys have heard of these if you watch my videos. This is the Hourglass Vanish Stick. I wear the shade Linen. Linen's a little light for me, so I do like to mix it. This is the Tarte Amazonian Clay Full Coverage Foundation. Love this one. This is the Cover FX Natural Finish Foundation, Ride or Die product. And this is the Tarte Amazonian Clay BB Tinted Moisturizer. So I'm gonna mix this one. I do about this much. So you don't wanna go too much. Another tip for you, you can always add more foundation. So don't go in with a ton to start, because it's a lot harder to take it off than to add a little bit more on. And you can always just use the back of your hand and whatever tool you would like, and you can just apply this way as opposed to putting it right on your skin, and then it's very hard to get off. So next we're gonna figure out what tools we want to apply our foundation. Do we want a sponge? Do we want a brush? Do we wanna just use our hands? I opt for a sponge. I think the application is a lot more flawless when I use a sponge. Sometimes I will apply with a brush and then go over it with a sponge. It kind of just depends how I feel. Today I will do that method just because I do recommend it. I'm also gonna add this product in to my little concoction I have going on. So this is the True Match Lumi Glotion. I love adding in a glow enhancing product to my foundation because I just love that look. Becca has a lot of amazing products to do this. The Illuminating Skin Perfector is like one of my all-time favorites. I'm out of that and need to get some more, but in the meantime, I'm just gonna use this guy because this works pretty well too. So now that I have these all good to go, I'm just gonna kind of like mix it together on my hand with my finger, and you can see I have a pretty good amount here. This is gonna be plenty, and I probably won't even use all of it, to be honest, okay? So now that my finger is already covered in foundation, I'm just going to place that all over in different areas, and this is gonna make sure that the product gets evenly distributed around my face. So if I just were to like tap my brush on the foundation and go in with it, that's gonna be a lot of product in one place, and it may not spread evenly to the other side. So I like to place the foundation first and just kind of make sure it's getting everywhere. Now I'm going to grab my brush. This is an amazing foundation brush. This is the Morphe M439. I've been using it forever. And I'm basically just going to, in circular motion, start buffing this into the skin, just like this. You really want it to kind of seep into the skin and not sit on top of the skin, just so it looks like it's part of your face, right? So circular motions is a really good way to do that. always bring the foundation down your neck. You never want to have a line right here of what's foundation and what's not. Okay, and that's like a pretty even layer right there. You can see my skin is looking a lot more even toned, but I want a teeny bit more coverage. So now I'm gonna go back in with my brush, kind of do the same process, but now I have it on my brush. And I'm gonna just kind of tap. I like to stipple the product in, and I also like to do those circular motions as well. What I'm gonna do next, just to make sure that I am fully blended, is I'm just gonna grab a damp beauty sponge. This is the Real Technique sponge. I love this one. I normally use the Beauty Blender, but I recently got this one and I love it. So I'm just gonna kind of tap that in. Don't be afraid to take your time on this. I do feel like a big reason that people don't end up liking how their makeup looks is because their base and their foundation doesn't look great, and it's because they rushed it. Like, take your time and make sure that the product is evenly distributed, it's worked into your skin, all of that. This is probably what I spend the most time on. Like, other than my eyeshadow, I spend the most time on my foundation and just getting all of this where I want it. One thing I should also mention is you just want to make sure that your skin is prepped, hydrated, primed, everything before you even start applying. I will do a whole nother video just on primers, so we can talk just about, you know, different types of primers that I would recommend, why to use them, when to use them, all of that. But you want to make sure you start with that before you go in at all. Okay, so now I've kind of let the foundation get into my skin. It's feeling very skin-like. It doesn't feel very tacky, which is good. Next step is to conceal, but that's not what this video is about. So I'm quickly just gonna conceal, and then we will pick up right where you need to set everything, because setting your foundation is super important. Okay, now I have concealed everything. Look how much brighter my face looks. So now we need to set everything. So I use a translucent powder, but you could use just a regular foundation powder. You could use like the Kat Von D or Anastasia Shade and Light palettes, the contour palettes. I personally love the Cover FX translucent powder, and you wanna make sure you set things pretty quickly after you conceal because things can crease. So I like to just pick this up on my sponge and press this in where I crease the most. I always crease under my eyes, always, because that's where a lot of my lines are. And then everywhere that I get oily, so I always get oily on my chin, kind of on my cheeks here. My forehead is always pretty oily right there. A little bit on my nose, under here, my foundation always breaks up. I'm not wiping. If I have any excess powder in here, I like to just grab a big fluffy brush, and I like to just use that to set the rest of my face. Anywhere that I didn't really focus with the sponge, and my neck, because we didn't do that yet. And this just really locks everything. So you're gonna look pretty matte at this point, but that's okay. Once the powder really sets in, it's gonna look much more skin-like, and obviously that is the goal. If you start to see any creasing, use your finger and just kind of press the product back in where you want it. The heat from your finger is going to make it very easy to buff those little teeny areas out. So that is pretty much the foundation base. If you made it to this point, you're in good shape. You only have to do one more thing, and that is to set your face with setting spray. I'm gonna finish this makeup look, come back, and then set everything, talk to you about a couple of my favorite setting sprays, and we'll be good to go. for foundation. And last tip I have for you, sorry, these earrings, is to set your foundation. So I have my 2 favorite setting sprays here. This is just a traveler, that's why it's so small, but this is the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. They have a bunch of different versions of this. They have the cool, hydrating, which is the one I really love. Then there's a matte one, so if you're oily, you'll love that. And I think this is just like the first standard all-nighter. I like to go in with this guy first and then top with this one. So this is the Cover FX setting spray. This is the dewy finish, which will make me quite dewy. This is better for summer in my opinion. And if you're oily, you're obviously not gonna wanna look dewy. You are blessed and look that way anyway. So just keep that in mind. They have a bunch of different versions of this as well. What I love the most about this is the way it sprays. So let's see if you can see it. Do you guys see that? Now it's everywhere. But it's like the most steady stream. It's almost like, I don't know, it feels really nice on the skin. So my favorite one of these is the illuminating setting spray, but right now I have the dewy and this. So I'm gonna go in with this one first. Just like to do 3, sometimes 4, sometimes 5. Try not to make any facial expressions while you're doing this. And then I'm gonna do 3 of these. So this step is super essential. It just makes your skin and your foundation, it makes the powders and liquids all melt together and makes your foundation just look like your skin. It shouldn't feel like sticky or anything. It should just feel like your skin. So that is it, you guys. Those are all of my foundation tips. I hope this was helpful for you. Let me know if you have questions in the comments below. I'll be checking those out, reading and responding. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, turn the little bell on so you get a notification when I post. And I will have videos going up at least once a week from now on. So this will be my day. And I'm hoping to eventually get to 2 videos a week, but we're gonna start off with at least 4 videos a month. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. What do we think of my hair? This is the first time I curled it like this. I'm getting the hang of it. This bang knows what's up. Like, you're my girl. This bang, absolute dud.